Welcome to 2Cents FC. I'm your host, Amobi Okugo, back with my guy L. Each week we'll be discussing topics from around the world. I'll be giving my thoughts from the perspective of a pro soccer player. This week we'll be discussing NWSL's big week, MLS expansion, news from around Europe. We brought a friend of the family again back on the show, Maggie Ntim. If you guys haven't checked back on past episodes, we had her on. Amazing woman in sports business doing amazing things. We definitely wanted to get her take on some topics that we're discussing again. So make sure you guys tune in. L, let's get through these topics. Start us off.
All right, cool. So big week at NWSL. We got the Challenge Cup final with the Chicago Red Stars facing off against the Houston Dash. So I want to get you guys predictions on that. Who do you think will take home the cup?
Now, you want to take it first or what?
Man.
Because I'm biased when it comes to this.
These are two of my favorite teams. Initially, I had predicted North Carolina to face off against either Houston or they were going to face off against Chicago. So either way, I had pretty much like those three teams, but I had Houston and Chicago in. And now that they're playing each other, man, it's going to be a really good match. I feel like they're both going to bring it. They're going to bring something special, something that we've probably never seen before. And in the end, I think Chicago might end up taking it, honestly.
Okay. Fair
but
enough.
I love Houston. But
yeah.
I just, something's telling me Chicago might do it.
Yeah, I like it. I like your answer because, I mean, Chicago's gotten close like the past couple of years, like whether it's semis or finals or whatever. They got a lot of star talent. I feel like a lot of talent from Chicago will go to like another team and like even get better. Like they're like a good feeder system almost. So for them to finally like get to this pinnacle again. But I think I'm biased. You know, one of my homies, Jamia, is on Houston, so I gotta rock out with them. Her. And she's killing it. She got next up.
They dope too. Rachel Daly is a problem.
Yeah, she's serious.
Yeah, so that's why I'm like, it's definitely gonna be a great game for sure. It's gonna be a great game for sure.
And I really like how, you know, it's not the typical like North Carolina, Portland. You know, now you're gonna get to see, you know, more ladies. Yeah, exactly. Yep. The underdogs, more ladies doing work. Maybe not like the top ladies that we're used to seeing.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you was betting, you put in money on Chicago.
Man.
Because, you know, sports betting is big now.
I know. Thank God I'm not betting because I almost did with North Carolina. I'm so happy I didn't because, that would have been real bad. That's the thing. It's like they're both good teams. And I like both of them, which is why I'm probably going to be cheering for both. And I'm going to probably have a scarf for each. But I just feel like Chicago, watching both of those semifinals games yesterday, it was like, if you remember the first game, it was good. North Carolina bought it, they won. First half of the tournament, there were some okay matches. But when you hit the knockout round, it was like, you were shocked because you were seeing the underdogs really coming up.
Yeah.
Then you watched both matches yesterday, semifinals, and it was like, yo, I'm going to give the fans what they really want. And that energy coming from Houston and then the energy coming from Chicago, that's what we're going to see on Sunday.
Yeah.
But it might be even more because they both know something's on the line. So it's like, we didn't come here to BS. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I feel like it's going to be really good. But I feel like with Chicago, they're going to bring it. And if you notice, like my girl Casey Short is out. But to see what they've done without her lets you know, like,
yeah, they came here to play. Respect.
They're gonna bring it.
Yeah, don't forget Shea Groom too. Shea Groom is a baller.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. No, you're right. You're right.
There's a lot of talent, man. There's a lot of talent.
Both sides, but Coach Rory, he's too ill with it. He knows what he's doing.
Okay.
Chicago.
All right, I'm gonna go with Houston with a shocker.
Yeah. Of course, you're gonna go with Houston.
All right.
Al always going against me, you know. just
that's lucky facts.
Because I'm not a fan of Atlanta United. I mean, they're a great team, but
it's all love. It's all love.
Come on. Just for that,
All
I'm
right.
definitely saying Chicago. Maybe
Okay.
3-1. 3-1
We're gonna have to check
Okay.
back. When's the game? When's the final?
Sunday.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna have to check
Sunday.
back.
And it actually is going to be on CBS. So CBS didn't miss the mark on that. They
Yeah,
missed the mark yesterday, but
they're
they ain't
not
gonna
gonna
miss
miss
the
it.
mark on that one. So
We might have to have you guest live tweeting or something.
something, something. But I'm looking forward to it.
Yep. All right, no doubt. So the NWSL has been growing, it's been blowing up. So we got two new teams coming in, Racing Louisville FC. So the Louisville expansion team recently announced their name and crest. Racing Louisville FC is kind of a nod to the racing heritage of the city, you know, the Kentucky Derby, stuff like that. What are you guys' thoughts on the name? What are your thoughts on the colors, the logo, everything?
For me, I think it's perfect, right? Because when you talk about racing, I had the chance to attend a Kentucky Derby about 2 years ago on a work trip, and the energy of of the state of Kentucky and just the fans, how they're really sports fans. Because obviously, when you look from the college level, right, with University of Kentucky, Louisville, it's like they're huge sports fans. So I think with the racing name, I like it. It's something different. I would hope that the players that they're recruiting for Racing Louisville owns up to the name. So if we're talking about racing, which means I'm thinking of speed, I'm thinking of these women who have speed to them, and it's like everything fits. Design, amazing, on point. I'm loving the color scheme. I'm not even really a purple kind of girl, but that, like the merch from that, I'm looking forward to that. Like I would definitely rock that. So I love it. I think the logo design is dope. I think the name is dope. I'm looking forward to seeing a lot more coming from them.
Another Matt Wolf creation. Shout out to Matt Wolf,
Yes.
Yeah,
killing it.
that boy Matt Wolf, he like one of them like rap producers when it comes to
Listen, Matt
his
is the homie,
designs.
man.
He
Matt
don't
is the
miss.
homie.
He
That
don't miss.
Let me tell you something. 2018 World Cup, I had so much gear just because of him. And Matt is like legendary,
Let me
legendary,
find
a
out you got
young
the
legend.
plug, Maggie. Let me
Like I
find
said,
out you
he
got
a
the
young
plug.
legend. The Nike squad, period. That whole design team they're dope. So I'm curious to see even how what the kits are gonna look like, and if you never know, we may see something different, right, from the rest
Yeah.
of the kits. So I'm curious to see that. But that design with Matt is phenomenal.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I really think how they paid homage to the community, like Louisville. You got Muhammad Ali, you got the baseball heritage with the Louisville Sluggers. You got the Kentucky Derby, obviously with the name Racing Club, and then you have like the tie-in with obviously the USL men's team. So they didn't like just like transfer over what the men's are doing. They like created their own brand around it. I think that's
Their
really
own
important.
identity.
Exactly, and
Great.
and it's unique in the sense of like it fits their community. It's not like standard like, all right, we're doing a soccer team. It has to be SC, FC, or soccer club, whatever. It's Louisville. This is our community. We're gonna get players that fit our identity, our community, and hopefully they create like a winning product on the field. Because as we all know, Louisville is a historic sports community, and that's what they're going to be expecting.
Absolutely.
So, I'm really interested. They got the they got the soccer specific stadium. They got
Stadium
all
is
that.
amazing too.
Yeah,
Like I can't wait to watch some games in there for sure.
yeah. They
It's
did.
it's just I think the one area we're gonna also have to pay attention to with them is so I don't know if you guys know, within the NWSL they have the expansion draft, and that's where
Uh,
that expansion team is allowed to kind of draft a few players that they want that are currently playing. Whether that's, I'm almost certain they'll recruit some women from NC Courage, Thorns, all these different teams,
yeah.
and they get to select a certain amount. And then with the collegiate draft, which is going to happen January 2021, TBD, because depending on COVID or whatnot, they're also going to have a few picks, and they're also going to get first dibs on the first draft pick. So they get the lottery pick. And if it goes according to plan, that's going to be a hell of a pick, and
Yeah.
that's going to set it off real good for their team. I think if they're looking for someone right now, I would probably go after like a Jessica McDonald and have her kind of lead the way. She's been in it long enough, and yeah, you can kind of build around her or build around other few people, and we'll see what's happening because they also interviewing coaches and stuff as well. So that's going to be something to keep your ears open for to see like who are they hiring as the coach? Are they going to hire a woman? Are they going to hire a male? Are they going to hire someone that's European? Are they going to hire someone that's American? So it's a lot that's going to happen with that team, and it's exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see see what they do.
Yep, definitely.
Yep, and there's also another team announced this week out in LA. They're going by the name of Angel City. And their formal name and crest will be announced later, but as of right now, they're dubbed Angel City. And what's dope about this franchise is that they're majority women owned. So Natalie Portman, Serena Williams, Mia Hamm, Abby Wambach, Eva Longoria, you got some big names in the ownership group, including the youngest pro sports team owner, Alexis Olympia Ohanian Jr., who is, the daughter of Serena Williams and Alexis Ohanian Sr., and she's only 2 years old, and her parents already alley-ooped her into some team ownership. So that's how you do it right there.
Historic.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's generational wealth right there.
That's a great example. Can you guys explain that to me though? Because I got to play devil's advocate here. From the ownership perspective, don't you automatically, if you have like an estate or a trust, it automatically goes to technically your kids, right?
Not necessarily.
Unless you like.
It really depends on.
Okay.
Yeah, it depends on like if you have a will and what's left in there. It depends on who's your power of attorney. Because sometimes for some men, the wife could be the power of attorney, but it doesn't necessarily mean that all the kids get it. Because say you had 5 children and you had 3 with her and you had 2 with somebody else, her 3 will probably get dibs. And depending on whether she like your other kids, they may get something, they may not.
End up like a Lifetime movie or something.
Absolutely, for real. But I think to have Alexis, she is now the youngest pro sports of a professional team owner. The youngest.
Yeah,
game changing. I think they set it up lovely. And that ownership group is powerful, man. You have Hollywood, execs in there. You have media execs. You have the COO of Netflix, who's a part of that ownership group. You have, obviously, like you mentioned, Eva Longoria, Serena Williams, Mia Hamm. You have amazing women like Angela Hucles, who is also like a former player, and when I first saw the list, her name besides Serena automatically stood out to me because as a Black woman to have ownership in that and be a former player within the soccer space is amazing. And she's also into like real estate and all these different things. So it's an amazing group. It's a large group, but it's good. I think it's good.
Now, Moby, you had something to say about this in the tweets about these large ownership groups, these large celebrity-led ownership groups. So, what was your take on that?
Oh, so my take was on people getting into ownership. We're gonna talk on that. We're gonna talk on that later. But for me, this situation is big time. Because like you have how many professional sports teams in LA for them not to have a women's organization until now it's a long time coming. So I know agents like you, Maggie, your phones are going to be ringing. People like, can you get me to LA? Like,
I let my clients know before it even happened. I'm like, listen, there's a tweet and there's information that's about to come out because I knew the day before, and I'm like, there's information coming out. Stay tuned. And then they were like, what is it? I'm like, just stay tuned. And it involves LA. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, once it went out, it was going off. Emails were like, you know anything about this? You know anybody over there? So I called up who I knew. So Angela Hercules is a good friend. And, Alexis as well. We share a mutual business partner. So it was kind of easy to make the call to be like, hey, so what's going on? Have you already signed a player? Have you already got a coach? Who you got? I got this person, that's a bad person. So people were reaching out, and I was like, man. And that's why if you guys saw my tweet, I'm like, players about to put in transfer requests ASAP because
it's already happening.
Like, I don't care if this is happening in 2022. This is what I want. You probably even have college seniors who are probably asking for like to become a redshirt senior just so
just to
they
make
could
sure.
like position it to where like, oh yeah, forget it. I don't want to go in the 2021 draft. I want to go in 2022 draft so I could possibly be drafted to LA. So there's a lot of good perks to that. There's a lot of good advantages because the California community and Amobi, you might notice being a player when it comes to soccer, but especially on the collegiate level and just even the academy level, just the women alone is some of the baddest women in the game of soccer on the field. They're no joke. So that whole Pac-12 connection with those schools like USC, UCLA. In fact, I think UCLA is involved in it as well.
They have to be.
Their head coach is involved. So, but yeah, it's good. It's cool. In this case, it's cool. But I was curious about your take on it, Amobi. Why you felt,
So here we go.
Because you were very vocal on Twitter, and I was like, let's discuss because I'm curious.
Yeah, Amobi, before you go.
And Elle, thank you for putting this together to have me back on the show. So we can
definitely.
Discuss.
So before you go, I'm gonna read the original tweet from the homie Nigerian Scans. He sent out a tweet that says the growth of soccer in America has me thinking about how many people are starting to put money behind these teams and what does it actually mean. He says, hell, even Jay-Z and Rock Nation have been signing players and they just did something with AC Milan. It makes me wonder, is it clout or do they actually care for the growth of the sport? And so that's when you guys started to, then you said, let's discuss. And then Amobi, retweet, said, got plenty of time for this discussion. So let's discuss.
Perfect.
Because I have mixed views on it. I couldn't agree. Shout out to Nigerian Scams too. That's family as well. For me, and Amobi, you might agree, I have mixed views because in the LA ownership case, the former soccer players, Alexis, Serena, maybe one or two from Netflix, are into the game.
Yeah.
I can't speak for any of them, but I can't speak for the rest of the ownership group. I think if we are talking about Jay-Z and Rock Nation and all of that, that's a whole nother conversation. But
that's a Puma play right there.
I do have that question too, right? Like I do have that question that are they really into the game? Is it really because they're fans of it and they want to see things happen? I know Alexis is because I found the tweet that he previously tweeted a year ago stating about investing more into women's sports and how can he become an owner. And it's crazy how a year later this is where we are. And that's the power of like manifestation. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's the power of manifestation. And also too, he's passionate because look at who he's married to. You're married to one of the greatest athletes of all time. So someone who's so big on women's sports. So it's interesting. Like I wish a time like this that Kobe was still here, man, because I know that he would have definitely been a part of it and probably would have brought even more people that we couldn't even think of that had that true love for the game. I mean, I even wish, like, if it were me, I would have tried to talk to Vanessa and try to still have even the Mamba Foundation or something like that involved in it to still kind of carry on the legacy. But that's just me. I'm just saying. But I do have mixed feelings about players. I mean, not so much players, but like the former players, I think they're in it. Like I said, the previous names I mentioned, they're in it. I just can't say that about everyone because we don't know if they're in it to be in it or, like Scam said, if they're in it for clout. I'm curious to hear you guys take on it.
Yeah, so here we go. I hope you guys got time. So for me personally, like if you just like follow the trends, obviously soccer is the number one youth sport. And when it comes to like getting hold of that Gen Z demographic, that millennial demographic as they get older, soccer is going to be that sport. And if you look at the timeline over the course of the next 10 years, the World Cup's coming to the States, you got Olympics, you got, the growth of soccer from a professional standpoint, USL, NWSL, MLS, NPSL, all these leagues. Globally, when it comes to NFL, NBA, they've kind of, I don't want to say they've reached their growth potential, but soccer is just starting. Like TV deals in Europe, you see, obviously, Maggie, you could speak on this more, but there's private equity firms, VC firms, constantly looking for deals on a global level. So these these player owners, these actors and celebrity owners, they can't get into some of these NFL, NBA deals. There's too much money, and not to count anyone's pockets, but like that's big money. So when you can come in on a large cap table with a lot of people, they're more lenient when it comes to ownership. And you can say you're like the ownership, you're owning a sports team. It doesn't matter what level it is. Like to say you own a sports team, it's like in billions. Like that's like elite.
Sure.
That's elite wealth. When you like,
Yep.
yeah, I'm part of an ownership franchise. Like, so this is their way to get into that. And then soccer, from soccer culture as FIFA and like jersey culture, scarf culture, there's nothing like it compared to other sports. So I think it's a cool way for them to say um, they're involved. They're making big moves, and it's like from a futuristic standpoint in terms of like ROI on investment, you're able to get in at a lower price and potentially see large returns. Like I mentioned, like World Cup come in, more leagues come in. The real estate plays around some of these stadiums, soccer specific stadiums that they're building. There's yeah, because we can go on and on. There's a lot of different moves that are being made, like not even just from like soccer specific, but like obviously with COVID, there's been some hits taken, but the multi-complex commercial real estate plays surrounding areas. Um, there's a lot to talk about, but like from the youth standpoint, like to be able to capture that market, um, there's no other sport, no other investment that can get you those immediate eyeballs. So that's my take on it. We could definitely dive in further, but that's the quick overview.
Yeah, I agree with Obi. I think it's that low barrier to entry, especially with it growing. So the ceiling is higher out here in America. Um, Getting into these franchises, getting NWSL, MLS, um, and they're seeing the return on investment. So like these teams, like these new teams that are coming in, and then getting private equity into them and immediately shooting the values up like exponentially, like just for MLS franchises, it's crazy. So people are saying like this is a good vehicle to put my money into. So yeah, I definitely think that's a and to your point, Maggie as well. It's a balance. So like you have the purists in there, but you also have the straight investors in there as well. I don't know if anybody is chasing clout per se, but I feel like there are people who actually are passionate about the game and want to own a team, and then there's the people who maybe have a little bit more money who are looking at it as a pure investment play. So the combination of both are kind of helping prop the thing up.
Yeah, I know some people that have like invested in certain sports just because they're like kids play. They're like, oh yeah,
Yep.
I didn't even like this sport, but my kids play and they love it. So
Hey,
Yep.
Arthur,
yeah,
Arthur Blank.
yeah,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they see it, and now they're
I,
exposed to it and love it.
I mean, I couldn't agree more
Hmm.
with what you both said, right? And I think, like for me, when people ask me, okay, so you're an agent, Maggie, you're a CEO, you have your agency, your company. What's your like end goal? The end goal for me is to be an owner, to
Hmm.
own, several. If I could own more than one soccer team, or at least more than one sporting team within at least the five major sports, absolutely. That's gonna take some time, but that's the goal, right? But
Yeah,
it's what it showed me was that it's doable, especially with the women's league and being a woman. It's like, oh my gosh, this is everything. But then it also made me think about a lot of things. Like obviously, there's a big difference in ownership from the National Women's League here in America versus like the Women's Super League in England.
yeah,
And when you look at the owners of that, that's where you're talking about the billions, because some of those owners are like the same owners of Chelsea Football Club or obviously City Football Group, things like that. So the ownership is structure is different. Um, it also made me think too. I'm like, damn, it's so many investors for one team that I wonder if the idea ever occurred to say, do we all just go in on this team, or how about we work with the league and actually make the investment into the league? Because from the league side, LA is the hottest team now, and it hasn't even kicked off yet.
yeah.
It was just an announcement. But the amount of funding and what's going to go into the LA squad alone, some of that, I wonder if there's a way to transfer some of that funding to the league. Because if I'm the league, you know they only have but so many staff. They only have but so many deals, and those deals are not even like guaranteed, right? Those partnership deals. It's not a 10-year deal like most of these broadcasting deals that we may see with the NFL or even the NBA. So I'm wondering if that's a discussion. It probably is. And then I also think about some of the other leagues like USL. Can USL have something like that in the future where there could be a club that has, not that many people, but whether it's 5 to 6, heavy hitters to kind of come in. And we're seeing that with certain players or former players that are able to kind of get in on the USL side and invest, which I think is amazing. And I think those are all things that it helps, because when you're a former player, and you're no longer playing, and let's say if your desire is to be a coach or be a sporting director or possibly be an owner of a team, I feel like players should definitely have that opportunity to do that. So it's exciting to see the former players that are a part of it. Shout out to Mia Hamm too, because Mia Hamm is also have ownership in LAFC.
Yeah.
So she
Not
just set
playing around.
history. She just set history
Getting
right
it.
there by having ownership in LAFC and this new LA team. Like,
Yeah.
that's dope. I think that's dope. Um,
Yeah.
I think even Eva Longoria is another dope investment. And if I'm her, I would play it a little bit interesting, because I think maybe if we get into this topic, when we talk about expansion teams, I'm gonna tell you why. For somebody like Eva, I would play this card even. But we'll get into that when we get into the
Okay.
expansion.
So let's go ahead and get into it. So yeah, with LA and Louisville coming into the league soon, what other markets do you think would be good for propping up the league? What other markets are missing in NWSL, and what teams do you think are next? I know Sacramento has been in talks to add a team.
Yep,
Um,
Sacktown. Amobi, you should get into
yeah,
that.
Yeah. I'm gonna try to make some moves out there.
For sure. I think Sacramento's gonna be good. If I'm them, I would try to get like Vivek, owner of Sacramento Kings. He's super dope, big, huge within sports. Also maybe tying that connection to India and women. Because in India they're trying to also, really, really increase women's football there. So that's just my thinking cap or business cap. Like, there's a lot of different ways to tie that in. So Sacramento we know about. For me, I feel the next place should be Toronto. I say
Oh, I
Toronto.
like that.
I say Toronto. I say Austin. I say Atlanta, and maybe New Mexico. So from the Toronto standpoint, and if you don't want to, if they don't want to do Toronto, they could do Vancouver. But the women coming out of Canada, you can just look at the Canada national women's team. Heavy hitters. Look at NWSL. How many of those top players are from Canada?
Hmm.
In Toronto, they've tried to bring a WNBA team, and unfortunately, that didn't work. They didn't really have the support of the city. But you're telling me if you get National Women's Soccer League says, okay, we're bringing a team to Toronto. You got guys like Drake that would definitely put some money up behind it. You have guys like The Weeknd that will put some money up behind it. You have so many people from Canada even that would put money behind it. I think I saw a tweet. Was it William? What's the actor's name? Um,
Will I am or someone else?
no, William Shatner. Shatner, is that
William
his last
Shatner.
name? Older gentleman. If you see his face, you know who I'm talking about. He retweeted Alexa's tweet talking about, like, it's like, I'm with you. I stand with you. He's Canadian. You don't think the idea is popping through his head now to say, hey, I could invest in a women's team, or let me talk to Alexis or some of these other owners who are part of these teams on that process and what that looks like. But I say Toronto, the amount of support that they would get, not just from an investment side, but from the player side, you'd have so many women that they come to the US to go to school. Now the option is, I'm gonna go back home because I want to play pro back home in my
Hmm.
country. I want to play back. I want to play pro in my city. If they're playing in Europe, oh, I want to transfer to go back home and play. it means everything to me to play, home. I mean, Amobi, you can relate to this as an athlete, like, right? The opportunity to
Yeah.
play in your hometown and what that feels like. So I say Toronto should be number one. Um, Vancouver is like a second choice, but Toronto should be number one. And probably after Toronto, I'd say the focus should be on Austin. Atlanta, you could probably do that play where it's like the sister team to Atlanta United. So maybe Arthur Blank coming in there and getting involved in that possibly.
Yeah, there's
But
been discussion.
I would say Toronto and Austin. Those are the top two. And then also even with Atlanta, you got the I'm sorry, you have the UGA plug too. From the university. So we're just thinking about all of those things from a recruitment side too. Would be awesome. But yeah, those are my top two. I would say
Oh,
Toronto and then Austin.
okay, yeah, I like that list. For me, obviously LA just announced the team, but I'm adding another LA team there or San Diego, like because so many people are gonna want to come to LA, but there's like if you know like youth women's sports, LA, South SoCal is a mecca. Like you got so much talent coming out of there, and then like from being close to Mexico and like just like the cultural thing, like cultural place you could play. I'd add another team to LA. Another play because Colorado's a factory of women talent. You got to have something in Denver. So you got to have a women's team
I
in
didn't
Denver.
even think about that. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so you got to have a women's team in Denver. If you're able to start making money off transfer windows or something, I'm putting a team in Denver and like just shipping them out Europe, wherever. Um, NorCal, got to have NorCal presence. Obviously, Sacramento's having a team, but like Bay Area, they definitely need to have a squad. Besides that, I really like the Atlanta play. I think just from the culture standpoint, I think they definitely need to have a squad. And then obviously Miami. If you can make Miami work, uh, it might be difficult, but I feel like if you can make Miami work, or Orlando, make a little rivalry with Orlando.
Mm,
A lot of
could work.
talent, a lot of talent. Not even just from like the South American talent, but you got the Caribbean talent. A lot of ladies out there doing work
True.
in the
True.
Miami
True.
area.
True.
So those are my
Damn. You know
that's my five. Someone
what
got to
about
give me the
Detroit
GM
too?
title, man.
Detroit too. I didn't even
Oh
think
yeah,
about Detroit.
Detroit too. Detroit.
Detroit. I don't know. They would be whipping ass in Detroit. Like the Detroit will come with it. Like they.
Yeah, I like that. I like that
Yeah,
play.
because we're also looking at the inner cities, right? And you have these kids who are like a beast, amazing. So imagine pulling a couple of girls from there. Like, yeah, that would be good. And I think Denver is good. I know with Colorado they have a team already, but it's not in Denver. So
Yeah.
Denver, yeah,
Yeah.
I think that
Okay.
would be a good look too. Someone told me about Vegas, but
I
it's
actually
too
heard
damn
something
hot.
about that. I
It's too
heard.
damn hot in Vegas for me. So I don't know. L,
Yeah.
what's your take
But
on
with
it?
see, we got big stars looking to move over to Europe, man. We got Sam Mewis, we got um who's the other one you mentioned?
It's a
Uh, Ro-
possibility that Rose Lavelle
yeah,
will
Roosevelt.
Yeah, and
possibly
Rose Lavelle. They're
would
looking at
join them.
Europe right now. So that's another reason why NWSL needs big markets so that they can retain their talent. You know what I'm saying? So I see what you're saying about the hotbeds for like recruitment,
Hmm.
but the league needs actual big markets to kind of like grow.
Hmm.
So I see Atlanta being next. Um, Toronto's a possibility. Miami is definitely on the list. But after Sacramento comes in, I feel like Atlanta is probably going to be the next one in.
Atlanta?
Darren Ill, yeah, Darren Ills has already kind of like floated the idea. They said they've been talking and investigating the possibilities. They were not committal, but like I feel like they were watching to see with the movies. I see like once this LA thing came in, like I feel like all right, now it's time to hit the green light. They bought a bunch of land like last year to expand their training ground. So potential space for a women's team. So
To
I know
have
a
another
women's team is
ownership
in the
group
plans.
and have
No,
another
they'll
big
probably
ownership
it'll
group?
probably be under it'll probably be under Atlanta United's ownership
Yeah.
group, but it'd be an NWSL team. So I know there's plans for a women's team, and I feel like they're about to pull the trigger soon. And I
Okay.
know Atlanta's fan base is already like itching to get a women's team. So like I know they'll back the
It's
team,
true.
pack it out like same way they do with Atlanta United. So I think that'll be good for the league.
Yeah,
Okay,
I think so too. Especially the culture, right? Like just the culture of it would be, like you said, those major markets is good. I mean, yeah, Atlanta could be. It was my third choice. I just think Toronto. There's too many Canadian women that's like
in the league right now.
dope, dope. Too many. I mean, like just from the college level, the ones that are coming out of college right now, like the next 2 to 3 classes, your top 10 players are at least 4 Canadian women, all connected to the national team.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I don't know, but I agree.
They got to get somebody up there to push the button.
They better call the sixth guard to do that, because that button. I'm telling you, that phone call. Mark my words now. Don't be surprised if you start hearing about it. But I think even for like the Atlanta team, like I know some of these guys personally, like 2 Chainz, his involvement with sports. He has daughters, so that's something like, he's a sports fan, but he's also into women's sports. I know for Jeezy himself wanting to do a lot within the soccer space, so I feel like if that opportunity does arise itself and they want to do something similar to the ownership group of like what LA has, Atlanta, you'll definitely find people that will definitely want to jump on board and have investment in that. So that's a good one. Same thing with Toronto. I think all the cities that were mentioned.
Yeah. Well, cool. So while we're on the topic of expansion, let's move over to MLS expansion. So MLS released a new timeline for the expansion teams, pushing everything back a year due to COVID. So the new schedule, Austin FC is still on track with their 2021 season debut. Charlotte's pushed back to 2022. St. Louis and Sacramento have been pushed back to 2023. So the decision was made by the commissioner, Don Garber, in conjunction with the league's expansion committee. So Garber released a statement saying, "We have always taken a thoughtful and strategic approach to our expansion planning and have delivered successful launches for every new club. It is important for each club to take the necessary time to launch their inaugural MLS seasons the way their fans and communities deserve. With the extra year to make up for what has been a challenging 2020, these teams will be well positioned for their debuts and for long-term success." So what are your thoughts on that? Like, is it a good decision by the league to push it back?
For me, I mean, I knew this was going to happen. I talked to you 2 weeks ago. I told you something was going to happen around this. I think because Charlotte kind of got in quickly, it was a good way to say, yeah, let's use this opportunity to push it back a year, because Austin is going with no changes, So and then
Charlotte,
yeah. Sacramento and St. Louis, it's just more time to get things in order. I think that's kind of like a snowball effect based on Charlotte and like kind of scheduling. But I mean, I'm indifferent. I know probably agents and a couple of people are kind of upset with how they trying to align things, but but that's about it. Maggie, you want to say something?
I'm gonna go backwards here. So we said what, St. Louis, Sacramento, 2023. St. Louis, haven't heard too much about. I think the Sacramento play, we kind of knew that because they're trying to get things in order. But what would be dope is the same year that the men's team comes, the MLS team comes, the women's team comes that same year in 2023. I think that would be super dope. To launch both teams, right? It would be crazy. Like I said, with St. Louis, I haven't heard too much. And then when we talk about Charlotte, Charlotte is like a special place to me. It's like my second home. I know a lot of the staff and team behind it, and I'm not really surprised because from the agent side, having to speak back and forth with their team about things, I noticed that certain things were not put together just yet. And it's not that they were rushing it, but I think it was better for them, I guess. I probably wouldn't have done the signing because they signed their first player, Sergio Ruiz. So now the question is, He was all set to
Yeah.
come 2021. Now you got to wait 2022. So the only option probably for him, or at least for them, is to loan him out for the year, and then say, okay, we'll bring him back for 2022. It could be good for players, especially players from like USL, because now what that does is it gives Charlotte's scouting team, recruiting team, more time to see you play, more time to see you like make that transition, and that's just any player from USL Europe. It just gives them more time to really do it the right way and recruit. And then just from an organizational side, they can really get their stuff together. I think announcing the name and all of that is great, but it's just really getting it together. And then you have Austin. I mean, Austin, they've been on their job. I'm not going to front. They've been on their job. So that's why it's like, I kind of knew that they were not budging. They were not going to go and wait a whole nother year, because they've been working.
Yeah.
They've been working from having sporting directors, coaches hired. Like they're working, signing players, even working with their academy players. So it's like, I'm excited to see more coming from Austin. I'm excited to see more coming from Charlotte. I'm excited to see more from Sacramento, St. Louis, from all the expansion teams. And I guess pushing it back, Amobi, like you said, if you suspected it makes sense because of COVID and those things. And also too, like, even down to just making sure things were right, like picking the name for the club and those things. It's like, it's important. And I guess you just wanted to have the right time to do stuff. So I'm not mad at it, I guess.
I played for a couple of expansion teams, and the best expansion teams are the ones that are most prepared. So if this helps them, then more
Bingo.
power to them. It's going to be a better product in the field, and then a more seamless process for the fans and like building out revenue. So
Exactly.
yeah, you could tell when teams are like rushed and teams are like
Mm-hmm.
prepared, and
Yep.
teams
Sitting
hire. Yeah,
And
teams have
if I'm
hired
them players,
correctly.
if I'm them players that want to get recruited by Charlotte, or Sacramento, or any one of those clubs, you got time now. You got even more time, so you don't got to worry about this season in particular to say, "Oh my gosh, I may not have a chance." You have time, so
No.
Yeah, I think St. Louis is about to make an announcement sometime soon, in the next couple of weeks.
okay.
Name and crest.
Mm.
I can't find a tweet, but speaking of names and crests, Charlotte, as we mentioned, has announced their name and crest. They will be called the very generic Charlotte FC. So there's a bunch of names on the list that were dope, like Charlotte Town,
Whoa.
Charlotte Athletic, but they went with Charlotte FC. Um, so let's take a look at the crest. Um,
I don't know about that
See what we
generic
think
name,
here.
but
Man, I
I
think it's
like it.
generic.
Honestly, I like it. I like it. I think you got to think long term. You got to think from a business standpoint. It works for Chelsea. Chelsea obviously has like the same issues, CFC. It's very simple, and it was one of my top choices, so I was happy that they chose it. It's honestly like, it's easy on the eye. It's no misspelling or anything like that. And then a lot of people had things to say on Twitter, so I had to say something. And my tweet was basically like, people commenting on it, they probably never even stepped foot in the city of Charlotte to understand like why there's a crown in there, right? And that's something that kind of goes back to the history of Charlotte, and how they're nicknamed the Queen City. And you know, some people are like, oh, I should have been called Queen City this or Queen City that or SC, and I'm like, no, because maybe South Carolina may get an expansion team someday. You don't know that, but right now, this is Charlotte's team, but it's representing the state of North Carolina and the state of South Carolina for now until things change. I think the logo is nice. Do I think
Yeah,
that
so
maybe maybe the design could have been a little bit better? Maybe, but it's the crown I like. I think it's something different, and the crown, I understand what it means. It's cool to me. I like the color scheme. The blue and the black is cool. It works for me.
yeah, I'll do their marketing speak
Uh-oh.
for the logo.
Yeah, do that.
So the crown represents Queen City, Queen Charlotte, the city's namesake. The four spires in the crown represent the city's four wards. The logo is coin shaped, which is a nod to Charlotte being the first city to have its own brand of the U.S. Mint. And the minted portion, the minted in 2022, is another reference to the city's history with the U.S. Mint. I mean, as a designer, like I know the mumbo jumbo that they use and coming up with all these meanings around things. I still think it's super generic. I think they could have been a bit more creative with it. Even with the crown, like the crown looks like, to me, I've seen that crown several places, like on several like clip art sites. So like I feel like they could have invested a little bit more into the logo. I actually like the secondary logo better, the CLTFC, like
Oh,
that shape. I feel like that could have been a better primary logo, kind of like flamenco
in Brazil.
in Brazil. Yeah, how they have the initials as the primary crest. I think that would have been super dope, and it would have been something unique to MLS. No other like team has their kind of logo and brand like that. And even kind of putting that piece, like I did a little mock up on Twitter, like even putting that piece, that COT piece, inside of the circle, I think would have been dope as well. And they could have did a play on the crown, like adding the crown somewhere to that COT piece to still keep that crown element in there. But overall, I think it's all right. Like, they should have brought the boy Matt Wolf in to hook it up, but I'm sure he's probably booked and busy. But he did NYFC, he did LAFC, so he understands branding and crest work for MLS. So I think that's a missed opportunity there. What do y'all think?
I like the minted piece. I like the minted. I like that. I like the color schemes. I mean, it's cool. It doesn't like jump at me.
Carolina.
It doesn't jump.
Carolina Panthers colors.
The CLTFC.
Carolina blue.
That's like a Subway sandwich acronym. CLTFC. But yeah, it's cool. I mean, I could rock with it. Like, we'll see how they make it look on a jersey. Hopefully, Adidas gives them some freedom. But
that's the key. Is what it's gonna look like on jerseys, what the team is gonna look like on the pitch. That's the key thing. But I think it's cool.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, so this extra year should give them. This extra year should give them an opportunity to get a good jersey out of it, so they don't pull a Cincinnati situation.
Yeah,
getting them generic template jerseys.
There's always time to readjust the logo like Louisville did.
Exactly, but
I think you said that.
But I don't think there was enough pushback for them to readjust the logo.
Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. But from a licensing
looking forward
standpoint, it's good. It's good. I think it's good because you got to think about all those things too, right? Like with MLS. And, I mean, we're talking about a business here. We're talking about corporate. One thing about Charlotte is corporate, and one thing about the owners for this team, you're very corporate. So I think what it is too is like the options, right? Like, are they aware that they could have done more with this logo? Maybe not, because you have to look at the team behind the team.
Yeah.
Like they're not. It's not like Atlanta where it's very, cultural and it's like there's a culture. But one thing about Charlotte and just Carolina in total, that Carolina blue, they bleed blue, man. So it works for me. I bleed blue too, so it works for me.
Well, shout out USL Charlotte for getting the domain though. So they're gonna have to pay. They're gonna have to pay up. That was a good business
comment. Or like other USL clubs possibly that has converted into the MLS side. Maybe that's a hint to tell people like it's going into I mean, because let's be real, there's not going to really be a point to keep independence there anyway. Which is why I'm saying if I'm Charlotte FC, I'm recruiting from independence first, and then also getting some other players from other places.
Yeah.
Because more than likely after that, they're going to have to probably be regulated anyway. So it just makes the most sense to do it that way. But it's cool with me.
It would be smart for them to kind of purchase Charlotte Independence and have it as their B team. It's like similar to what Atlanta does with Atlanta United too. Like they're able to own players and
their USL team,
a good team.
Because they'd be more like their development team. But and then it's weird because they already have an academy now. So that's why I know like they're not going to do that with Independence. But at least, like I said, taking some of the players on there. I mean, I represent a few guys from there, so it would be great for them. I'm not just trying to plug them into it, but I'm just saying but it would be smart, right?
Yeah, you gotta have some people that already know the community.
You have talent right there. You have talent that knows the community. The community knows them. You don't have to worry about paying for, all these extra fees to get them there because it's a smooth process. They're all right there. But hey, no, we'll see. We'll see.
All right. So let's jump over to the pond. We got a couple notes from around Europe. Couple little things here. So Dortmund has completed their transfer to bring Jude Bellingham over to Birmingham City. I know that's your boy, Maggie. So what are your reactions to that? Will Jude become the next? Will he become the next Dortmund star?
So salute to Jude, the family, amazing family. Shout out to Mark as well. Well, both Marks, his dad and agent Mark. They pretty much closed that deal, so that was amazing. I know they've been working on that for a while. I tried to get in on it, but I was too late, I guess. So, but I love that they did bring in my girls, two of the top attorneys out of England, Steph and Liz of Levita Sport. Shout out to them for helping, close that deal and get that deal done. I do feel like, obviously he made history being the youngest 17-year-old player for that amount of money for a transfer fee. I think it really depends on what's going to happen with Sancho. If Sancho leaves, then Jude can become an instant star right away. If not, it's going to take some time.
What position does he play?
I think he's what is he? Not a forward, defender, maybe. He's like a winger, maybe.
Yeah, he's like one of them like winger types.
Yeah, like winger, because he can kind of play. He's like Sancho. He can play the winger, play forward. So it really just depends on what's happening with Sancho, honestly. And I told him, like, I can't believe everybody's decision right now is based off of his decision. Who knew? Who knew Sancho has that much power that people are not making a move until they know what he's doing? So.
Yep. What you think, Amobi?
I mean, Dortmund, they don't miss when it comes to young talent. I think Dortmund's definitely gonna force a Sancho sell. They already have like ideas of what they want to do. So for them to spend that much money, obviously they spend more than they did on Haaland, like to get this guy. So they rate him highly. I just think it's interesting that this young talent from England is coming to Germany. Like that's the new model, and then they go back to England for twice or three times the back. So it's a note to England, like, play your top talent. Like Phil Foden is not even he's getting like garbage minutes, where Sancho, he went to Dortmund, did his thing. Now he's going to come back and really raise the level. So for Jude, he's already been proven. He's been doing his thing in Birmingham City for quite some time. Dortmund's just going to give him some better experience, Champions League experience, and a new mentality. So I think he's going to do fine. I'm not sure he's going to be like the next great hope, but I know he's going to do fine. I'm confident.
It's a great development team. That's one thing I would say. So that's why I said it's going to take time for him, because he's like you said, he's already proven himself, but from a development side, he's going to get even better.
Yeah,
that's one thing that I will say, and I tell players all the time, like, if I had a son, I'm sending them to Germany or Belgium at like 12 to get developed straight up, because I'm like, the kids that come out of those out of like Bundesliga, Belgium, Holland, amazing, really great development. And also to your point, Amobi, about England, right? It's kind of like what we're saying about America here with the women's league, and like even for some of like MLS and some of the men players here, it's like we gotta figure out how to keep our talent.
Yeah,
I think similar to Jude, if he didn't go to Borussia, there was another player that they were going after who's also in England, not from England, but he's playing in England, same age. It's my young guy, Jaden Braith, who's said to be like the next Sancho, who they would have made an offer for him too. Well, they did initially, and Man City did the smart thing and said, okay, since Leroy left, it would be smart to move him to the first team, instead of having another Sancho situation to where he goes to the same squad, right? Like that would like eat them up inside. So that was smart on their part to keep him, so that okay, now he's out of it. So the only other person is Jude, and I think they also had Ansu Fati as well, but he's not
My
leaving
countryman.
Barcelona.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's not leaving Barcelona, so it's like Jude was pretty much the only thing left. Well, maybe Greenwood too, but that's a whole nother. That's a
Nah,
whole nother
Greenwood not
situation.
going anywhere.
It's a whole nother situation. It's a whole nother situation. But I agree. It's gonna take time, but we're gonna see. I feel like he's definitely gonna produce though, for sure.
Yeah. On that topic of Jadon Sancho, so it looks like the deal between Dortmund and Manchester City might be almost. I mean, Manchester United might almost be over the line. We're hearing that the fee is around 101 million, but it's not confirmed yet. I know Jadon, like articles have come out that he's homesick and ready to get back. So, do you think Man U gets the deal done?
Yeah, Jaden's tired of flying his barber out to Germany. Yeah, he coming back home, and he's coming back home and doing a little dig to Man City. He's coming back to Man U. Yeah, him, Greenwood on the wings, Marshall up top, or Rashford. Actually, yeah, Marshall's gonna have to do something, or they put Sancho inside. Rashford, Sancho, and Greenwood on the wings. Young England talent, Man U. That's like a FA's dream. Like one of their historic clubs have like young England talent, like leading the front lines. You can't really beat that. So they're gonna do what they need to do.
That's what is that? 06 Miami Heat. D Wade, LeBron, Chris Bosh. It's that group right there. It's like that trio.
Yeah, big three, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, the big three trio, like that. Or if you're taking your Paul Pierce and your Kevin Garnett, you know what I'm saying? It's like that, where it's like, damn, we got to go up against these guys. Yeah. As far as Sancho making that move, I'm with it. I've said it before. It's not a bad move. No, people don't ask me because I do work with him, but I'm not telling what the decision is because I really don't know because it hasn't been told to me. But conversations that were had with him, it was like, I get it. You want to go back home, and it only makes sense because you've been there for some years, and if it's the right opportunity. However, I could play devil's advocate and say, well, he could also wait another year, and mainly because of COVID.
Because of Champions League too. We don't know.
Champions League and the fees too, right? Because if Man United is complaining about these fees, and it's like the only reason why is because of COVID. Because if it wasn't for that, they probably would have paid like 130 and been like, all right, we'll bring him over. We'll pay the 130. We'll get this deal done. We're not going to wait. But then that also leaves room for maybe like two other clubs, maybe like Chelsea to try to get him. But I don't see him, as much as I like Chelsea, I don't see him fitting in there. I feel like he would do very well with Man United. So it's really up to Man United, honestly. If they really want him now, they can, make something happen. And if not, if I'm him, I would stay put and wait a year. Wait another year.
Yeah. I think he's doing it. I think it's happening this summer.
But it's not really up to him. Right?
Yeah, that's true.
It's up to them. So if it's really Man United that everybody's waiting on, it's up to them. They could put out 1,000 articles. But if you leave it open for too long and let another opportunity come that would actually be better, shit, it might switch up the whole situation. Because Chelsea could probably be like, we'll give you 150. It might be like, all right, it's still back home and it's even closer to home. So it'd be like, bump it, I'll take it because it's either gonna be
Chelsea getting all this money from, yo? They've been
chilling
in the transfer window. Like, where are they getting all this money from?
We had that FIFA Fair Play took us out some summer windows, and then now we good. We saved up.
Listen, that money's coming. You need to be worried about your Arsenal team and your Atlanta team.
I am worried.
Both of your teams are a little. I don't know. I'm starting to think. I don't know if you like a jinx or something because the two teams, Atlanta United, Arsenal. I don't know.
Let's not jinx it. We got FA Cup coming. Let's not jinx it. I'm not gonna talk any mess.
I'm worried about Arsenal. I'm worried about Arsenal's spending ability. I'm not worried about Atlanta United's spending ability. I'm worried about their coaching situation.
So you see it too?
Yeah,
One is the spending, one is the
we
coaching.
have
Right?
players in Atlanta. If under the right system, they'll kill it, right? And you know, at Arsenal, players may not be there, but we have the right coaching. You see what Arteta's done, right, with the players that we have. Like if we get the players that we want, I think we'll be competing within like the next year or two. But we need money from up top because we're not making any type of European competition this year. So there's no bread there. So we're gonna need the investment.
What
The
they
low,
doing
low,
with
lowest.
Aubameyang? Aubameyang was talking
They
that
just
stuff.
they offered him a raise. They offered him a raise, $315 a week.
Lowest since '95. Tottenham's in front of y'all for 4 years in a row. It's scary time for Arsenal.
Look. I think Alba's gonna sign, but he said he wants to make sure
David?
that no Aubameyang, Alba.
Oh,
I
I
think
think
he's
David from Bayern Munich. I'm like, I heard some rumors too, but
Alaba. No.
but not
Not that one.
Not Arsenal. Yeah,
Nah,
it was
he coming to
definitely not
Chelsea.
Arsenal.
Nah.
Nah, I think he was even trying to go to United or possibly Liverpool, but he might just end up staying though. He just gonna end up staying in Bayern Munich. That's a good squad too over there. So
Aubameyang just wants assurances. He just wants assurances that we're gonna sign players. So I think if he gets that assurance, he'll resign. We'll be good. I think Lacazette might be on his way out. We got to take it while we can. We're getting offers for him, so we need that money. You know what I mean?
We'll see.
So,
we'll see.
Yeah, do what we got to do. So speaking of Arsenal, we are a shining light in our season. Is we're in the FA Cup final against Amobi squad Chelsea. So we the kings of the FA Cup. Like that's where we show up, right?
That's y'all's trophy.
That's our competition.
Anyways, I'm a Chelsea fan. So we're gonna see.
So let's do score predictions. I'll let y'all go first.
Well, hopefully Lampard. Everyone's it's so tough because you got FA Cup and you got the last league match.
Yeah.
I'm willing to sacrifice FA Cup to make sure we're in Champions League. But these guys are strong enough. You got to play who you need to play. Do you know if Conte's going to be back? We need him. We need to make sure he's ready to go. But I got Chelsea 2-1. 2-1.
He said 2-1. I say 3-2.
3-2 Chelsea.
Yep, 3-2 Chelsea.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 2-1 Arsenal. Obviously, I'm picking Arsenal. Yeah, 2-1.
Yeah,
3-2. We'll see.
I think Chelsea's too focused on making Champions League.
Yeah, I
think that's where that's where their head is gonna be at.
Yeah.
That's where the money is. So I think, I'll take the trophy, man.
I told you, don't sleep. That's the power of this game. You never know, because we could be thinking that, but they could come in and be like, "Listen, we knocking this out, and we focused on Champions League." So, but then Arsenal can come and bring bring something different too. So
we're a very weird team like that.
Indeed.
You see what happened with Liverpool, City.
Indeed.
And then
I was just like, whoa.
And then we shit the bed against Villa, like, like a very weird team, And we'll get the brakes beat off of us in the regular season. When it comes to a trophy on the line, like we happen to show up. So except for last year in the Europa
I got Chelsea 2-1. David Luiz mistake, Pulisic goal. Yeah.
3-2.
We'll see.
All right, 2-1 Arsenal. All right, so we gonna get off that. So we'll get back to the topic of investment. So American firm Redbird Capital buys an 85% stake in Toulouse. So the American investment firm has agreed to buy 85% in the struggling French soccer club. So what are your thoughts on American investment in European soccer? We've had a lot over the years. The guy that owns not the Comets. Are they called the Comets? Damn, I can't. Classic team out of New York.
Cosmos.
Yeah. The owner of the Cosmos bought Fiorentina a couple years ago. course, you have the Red Sox group ownership in Liverpool, the Cronkies in Arsenal. So, but like you're starting to see a lot more American investment over in European soccer. So, like, what do you guys' thoughts on that?
Especially like in Italy too, some of those clubs. I think it's good. I think it's smart. I think it's smart. If I'm an American, and we're talking about not soccer in America, but we're talking about football, the game of it. Why not go to where it like it's hot? That's where it's at. So I think it's a smart investment. I just wonder if it could be reciprocated a little bit more. So like if those European investors could really start investing into like the women's league, the USL. I'm not buying MLS because I mean Don is about his money though, but we'll see. But I think it's a smart move. It's a good play.
Yeah, you're only going to see more of it. I know on hand. I remember when the Redbird team, they were actively looking, and then to see him less than a year later do that deal. There's a lot of private equity firms looking to get into the European soccer realm because it's not only cheaper, but you can get instant returns. You know, say Toulouse gets promoted back to the first league. That's instant TV revenue. If your team gets promoted to Champions League or Europa League, that's instant TV revenue, and you have more flexibility in what you want to do. So instead of like having to minimum $300 million to get into MLS, why not pay some debts or capital markets or whatever to own the majority stake of a European team? So I think we're only going to see more of it. There's unique plays around owning a European soccer team. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see where it goes. And if anyone needs like a Lauren from Billions, like that relationship person for these deals, I'm your guy. Let me know.
Yeah.
But that's it.
All right, cool. So let's get into our favorite part of the show: no card, yellow card, red card. For those who aren't familiar, it's a rapid fire segment of the show where we get our guests' opinions on some minor topics that are worth noting. So, for those not familiar with the rules, no card. So it goes along with the rules of the game. So no card is I agree, allow it. Yellow card is it's a foul. It can go either way. I agree, maybe I don't agree, but I'm not totally condemning it. Red card is obviously foul. You're out the game. It's I don't agree. I'm not with it. So we'll get into the first one. No card, yellow card, red card. Cancellation of this year's Ballon d'Or trophy award.
Red card for me. You got to that's too classic. You got to keep that. Every player has had to adjust with the current situation. I can understand because some leagues have had to cancel like completely, or like suspend their season or end their season short. But those leagues really, no players from those leagues are really in contention. I know they could have like suspended or like postponed it, wait for Champions League and all that. But yeah, I feel like in light of the situation, you got to keep a traditional monument like that. And yeah, I'm excited. I would have been excited to see like who they would have picked based on what's transpired over this year. So I'm gonna give that a red card.
Yellow card. I'm gonna give it a yellow card because I have two ways about it. I agree that it could have been canceled, and then I agree that obviously because of health issues, but then you could have done it virtually. I would have kind of loved to see what that looked like, but I'm gonna give it a yellow card.
Yeah,
I'm gonna give it a yellow card.
Yeah, and even if it was a case of like, oh, the season didn't get to play out, like they could have tallied up to the point where everybody had to stop, like who was in the lead, who was killing it, because I think either way, Lewandowski would took it home. So that was his opportunity to grab one, and they canceled. You know, he had one of the best seasons this year,
Exactly.
and they canceled the competition on him, so he can't even get the MVP trophy. You know,
This
it's
would have
rough.
been this would have been a really cool way for them to like get innovative and like include like fans involved or something, like try to like make something unique around the Ballon d'Or because of what had happened. But I feel like they dropped the ball with this one.
Yep. All
Yeah,
right,
I agree.
next up, yellow card or no card, yellow card, red card. Um, Frank Lampard complains about Liverpool's bench doing a lot of yapping on the sideline in his last game. So he commented, "Fair play to Liverpool Football Club. They've won the league, but also don't get too arrogant with it."
Uh, yeah, so I saw that clip. I'll give it a yellow card. I mean, obviously you got to take in light of the situation. Like Liverpool, they're like on top form right now. They're the first team. They won Champions League. They what they do? They won the Premier League after like that long of a drought. So yeah, they're gonna be boastful, especially because there's like a lot of banter back and forth. Um, so for me, I'm only giving a yellow card. Like obviously, there's some respect to the game that you have to take note of, but I'm all for like trash talking as long as you keep it respectable, no like insults. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, that's a yellow card. It's not a problem for me. Obviously, talking mess against Chelsea, but nah.
Okay.
Mm, no card. I'm
Yeah,
gonna say no card on that one.
I could rock with that.
I'm gonna
Like
say
that's why I
no
love
card.
basketball so much because you like talk mess and like nothing, no like
It,
that's good. Like you need that. I feel like you need more of that in soccer. It's like too nice almost sometimes.
Yeah, it's
way
too
too
much
nice.
decorum in soccer to me.
Yeah,
Too
Like,
much, and it's too many sensitive people.
yeah.
No, seriously,
No,
because
no, facts.
I saw something today, and sometimes when I'm on Twitter or social media, I have to remember, like, okay, I'm tweeting because I'm tweeting as like a fan, or I'm tweeting as just a person who's very passionate about the sport. But I also have to remember, like, I'm a licensed agent, so I got to be careful what I say before I get
Yeah.
into a Twitter war with a player who I don't even represent, because I'm like, man, you're being too sensitive. Like, you know, um, I just said that about it. It was something that happened with an MLS player, and it was said that he did a dirty move, and another
I
player
remember that. Oh,
wanted to
I remember
kind of all of a sudden speak up like he always does when it's like inconvenient. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not relevant for him. But that person just came out of nowhere and said something. I'm like, bro, that's not even your team. Like, I get it, you want to, solidarity and all that, but that's not even your team. You wasn't even playing.
that.
Like,
Yeah, I know what
you
you're
have
talking
a
about.
comment about that? That's how he played. Like, that's a European kid. You can't tell him, like, you know, his move. Like, it's a lot. It's a lot of sensitivity. But
Yeah,
so that question, no card for me. No card.
yeah.
No card. Because they're gonna get me fired up right now. Just thinking about that tweet, I'm like,
I
bruh.
forgot about that. I should have added that to no card, yellow card, red card.
And it's a good thing because yeah, no card
yeah, yeah, we don't want to get Maggie in trouble
Yeah,
out here. We need them deals to keep flowing.
yeah. Facts.
Listen, I mean, got to get these players, their opportunities. So that's where I got to also remember that too. I'm like, man, like, nah, let me just not take
Yeah.
that from.
What you think about it, L?
Um, I'm with Maggie. Like they're too sensitive. Like there's too much decorum in the game. You know what I mean? Like there shouldn't be a question of if a player who transferred away from a team is gonna, you know, celebrate when he
Celebrating.
scores on them. Like I scored for my team. I'm celebrating. You know why do I have to
What's the
not celebrate
problem?
because
Yeah.
you're my former team? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Just
yeah,
get
it's
traded every day, B.
every day, B.
People
So it's
score goals, their teams win all the time. Like that's the sport. And if you
uh,
can't handle it, like, come on.
yeah.
How many times did LeBron, get fired up, or people got mad at him because he played on his or he dunked on his former teammate? It happens.
Part of the game.
Get over it. Yeah, it's part of the game. You gotta have heart to play sport. Any sport.
Once you cross the line, we're not friends.
To understand, right? And you can't take it personal, but you just gotta know like it's a sport. But I don't know. I don't know.
No,
that's that.
Yeah, so I mean, I feel like whenever Maggie comes on, we can podcast for hours. But that's it for our show. Thanks again.
No, absolutely. Thank you guys for having me on. Really appreciate it, man. We talked about some good stuff, and I think to the point when I was talking about the Eva Longoria situation with the expansion, that's what I forgot to mention, that not even the Austin play, but maybe like San Antonio would be a cool market for women, and I think that's where she's from. That's where she's from. So when you think about the basketball community that's there, but it's a huge soccer community, Latin community that is from San Antonio. I ain't gonna front, Texas is that place. I've been thinking about relocating there sometimes, but then I'm like, I don't know if I could deal with the hurricanes and stuff. But
we ain't no hurricanes out here.
Listen, hurricanes, floods, whatever, tornadoes.
You talking about Houston?
Floods, everything.
You talking about Houston?
Yeah, I can't afford to have that. Sorry.
Respect.
You know what I'm saying? But Texas is the place though. But San Antonio, I think about it because I'm like, wait, Eva Longoria, that would be such a dope thing. I just wonder too, with the restrictions. I mean, I don't think she would. I think it's possible that she could have ownership in both teams, or at least help the city bring a team there, which would be amazing. I think that would be so dope. So
that's a good play. I'm not sure about,
because even MLS, because I didn't even think about MLS doesn't have a branch there either. So that would be
Austin is too close.
Cool.
Yeah, Austin took it from San Antonio.
It's like 45 minutes.
Yeah, it's like I can get to San Antonio in like 45 minutes.
Yeah, but still.
Yeah.
But we see it with basketball. Look, you got the Clippers and the Lakers playing in the same place. You know, the Chargers and the other squad playing the same. But yeah, so it shouldn't be too bad.
I don't know their personal situation, but I know Tony Parker was talking about he wants to invest in a women's team. And
now listen,
even Longoria, they used to go together.
Yeah,
so.
I know.
Yeah.
You know what? That would be so crazy because we didn't even think about that. Tony Parker.
Yeah, but I don't really know their situation, so. But that's a good
point.
Well,
one of them could help. If any of y'all hearing it, just give me my 10%. That's all I ask for.
We can work that out.
Absolutely.
But thanks again, Maggie, friends of the family, friends of the 2 Cents family. That's our show for this week. Make sure you subscribe, rate, and review. It helps us get discovered. Follow us on the socials at 2Cents FC. Check out our merch at 2centsfc.shop. It helps us support the show. Tweet us your comments on the show and any topics you want me or Elle to discuss. That's how we got to talking expansion this week. So we got a lot of time every week coming at you live and direct. So we appreciate you guys, and catch you guys next Friday.
Peace.
Definitely. Thank you guys.